Welcome to Computer Programming 2, Day 2, Part 2. To start out with a little bit of review, men, let's add these two lines to the program we made yesterday. I think it was called Feltboard 3. What these two lines do, if you can't tell, they're going to add a diagonal line. We're creating a new object called diagonal. Its type is a G-line, graphical line. And this part, you may remember from Programming 1, it sets aside memory on the computer for our new object. And then we need to give it some parameters in the parentheses here. If you remember, there's probably four different parameters we're going to need that are going to talk about its length, width, and its x and y coordinates here for a line. So play with it a little bit, see how it works. And also when you have coordinates in here, it makes something called a constructor, which is when we build a new object, a constructor means our new object has certain characteristics to it. Rather than just a generic one, our new line's also going to, like I said, have a position, a width, and attributes like that. And then, of course, we have our method here, our system one. We're going to add the diagonal line to our program. So add that, play with it a little bit. You're welcome to change the color if you can, and then come back to this video. Okay, let's move on to a new program. You can just go to File, Save As, what you're working on, and comment some of the stuff out in case you want to use it later. Rename it Feltboard 5. Notice we have our import statements. We've got our new class name. We're extending some of the ACM stuff. And then down here to the equivalent of our new method, our new main method, the run method, we're going to create a new object called the glabel, graphical label. I've named it label just to keep things nice and clear. And of course going to use the standard industry first program text of hello world. Now when we work with coordinates on here, remember that they're always going to be doubles. So if you were ever trying to get some user input or something, you're always safe to use doubles the whole way. So we also have these doubles we've created, X and Y, and then we're going to add our label to the canvas with these X and Y coordinates. Oops. Now when we add our label to the program, notice we're using the X and Y coordinates as I just mentioned. We could put in doubles there if we wanted them at a specific location, but instead we're using this information here to specify a predetermined width and height. And let's figure out what this is so we can see how to use a little bit more. And to do that, I'm going to look up the API for ACM graphics. So if you open up a web page, you could probably just Google ACM graphics and you'll probably find this Stanford web page, and then that'll take you where you want to go. Or you can type in this URL, and then we're going to look up from our program, try and figure out what these two methods, getWidth and getAscent, refer to. Now to do that, I'm going to go back to the API. I'm going to click on glabel. Then I'm going to scroll through and see if I can find what these methods are. So once again, getWidth, getAscent. And you may want to bookmark this API, because if you ever want to progress out on your own, boy, you're welcome to start playing with everything. Always remember that you can turn in something different that's comparable. As long as you're doing some work and learning some stuff, you got lots of freedom. And also, if you can ever see anything on these videos, let me know. So, you can check that out for what it does. And the other one, getWidth. There you go. So it might have made it just smaller. So one thing you can do, go back to your program, try playing with this. It's making it a little smaller, dividing it in half. And see how if you can get this to change, become different sizes, or you can just manually hard code your X and Y information there. So see what you can play with. See what you can find out on that. Once you've got that going, you've goofed with your labels a little bit. Notice I went in and hard-coded mine, I think, to get them out of the way. This is Feltboard 6. So you're welcome to add this right into Feltboard 5 or whatever you were working on, but we're going to add some images. Notice we can do that. We have to specify, I would start with a PNG, Portable Network Graphic. Those are the latest and greatest file formats for graphics, and they're going to be the most compatible at this point. So find an image online, save it in the same folder where you're saving your Java programs, your class files, and then you can use this. We're going to create a new object, a gimage, just calling it logo, call it whatever you want. And this is going to add our logo, and we'll have to check and see if this is going to be the size or its XY coordinates. All right, so here's what it looks like. Now we're able to put an image in. And this is going to come in handy a little bit later. Say you're doing a video game and you want to get your graphics a little better than Pong. Or you can bring in graphics that we'll borrow from the web, since we're not making commercial programs, and actually use those instead of just drawing a circle. So it's going to give us a little bit of freedom later. So go ahead and create something like that. Once you have your animation in place, go back to the API. We're going to go back to, I'm going to hit back, go back to the main object library, and let's find out what this gturtle is. Simulates a turtle moving on a canvas. Let's see if I can't challenge you guys to find an example of this and get it working. Doesn't matter how stupid it is or what it accomplishes, but let's see if you can get one of these to work. That's your challenge, men. Show me when you have it done. Work together.